strong enough to hold that. Of course, it's holding it now. You hold it now when I'm filming a video trying to say that you can't hold it. But generally, if you leave him in this pose for long, his arm will fall down. I can't believe you're holding your pose now. You dick. God of posing, clearly.
Across the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar, you'll behold in breathless wonder the God of Thunder, mighty Thor.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about the Mafex Thor figure. This has been my most requested review since I bought the Mafex Thor figure. Funny how that works. So let's talk about him. You can see here one thing I always love about Mafex is their presentation style and the fact that they use the same kind of boxes and layouts for all their different figures, for all their different brands. So they all look really nice when you have them lined up, all the boxes together on your shelf. Ooh, it's a little touch that really goes a long way. And then we get Thor out of the package, and there is a whole lot to talk about and dissect with this figure. A lot of complaints, but a few nice things as well. How's it going to even out? Well, let's talk about him. So here we go. We have Thor in hand right here, and just standing alone by himself, he's kind of nice. But the problem is, and this is the problem a lot of people have, mostly myself, is that he don't work with Marvel Legends. He really doesn't. But you know what? Is it fair to judge a figure against a completely different line? He's not designed to go with Marvel Legends. He's designed to go with Mafex figures. And in that regard, he actually stands up pretty well. It's always going to be a bummer for me because I really wanted a classic Thor, a more high-end version, because the Marvel Legends one is good. The only two things that I really don't care for so much are the fact that he has such a stoic, neutral face. We only got one face with that Thor, and it's good, but it's so just not really much going on there. And I have him launching into battle against my Thanos, so I want a kind of look, and that's what Mafex are giving us. So it's like, yes, we've got a more animated looking head, but he's just too small for Marvel Legends. It's such a shame. The other reason I wanted to replace my Marvel Legends Thor is the big plastic cape. I wanted a nice, beautiful, wired cloth cape, and we've got that here. And it's big and regal and billows in the wind. So it's got good stuff going for it. It's just, I'm going to do the size comparisons at the end. It's a shame I don't have the Marvel Legends Thor here. I wouldn't have thought to have brought it with me, but there you go. But you can see next to other Marvel Legends, he's just undersized. You can fudge it with some perspective if you want, but honestly, he just looks underwhelming. Definitely not the mighty Thor. The mighty undersized Thor is the case. So that being said and accepted, let's move on to the actual figure itself, because it's not really fair to judge him down next to another line that he wasn't designed to go into. So, it is what it is. It would be like me saying, oh, well, he scales terribly with Hot Toys. Well, yeah, that's not what he was designed for. This is based totally on classic, like super original appearance, classic kind of Thor, who actually is quite small or smaller in stature compared to your modern jacked up God of Thunder. So when you compare him to even other Mafex characters, like I've got my Steel, I would have much rather him be on that kind of body, because Steel's taller and wider and thicker, but I think stylistically, that's just not what Mafex were going for. I think Mafex were going for this very early classic 1960s style Thor, and in that regard, they kind of nailed it, even with the brighter, more pastel kind of colors. I hate to keep harkening back to the Marvel Legends Thor, but I like him because they're deeper, darker, more kind of badass looking colors. Here, it's very sky blue on the tights, a pastel yellow on the boots. He looks comic booky. And honestly, if you are just a Thor fan and you just want a standalone figure of Thor, I think this is one of the best ones you can get. Because on his own, He's got a lot going for him. He's good, but also he's not great. There are other caveats as well. I always find with Mafex, the skin tones, I feel personally, they always look very, very light and pale and porcelain. He feels kind of like a China doll. I don't feel as much life going on here, especially with modern Marvel Legends faces, where I feel with their paintwork and dot work and the way that they do them, they seem so expressive. There's a lot of washing and little itty-bitty little details that really make them feel alive. This Thor, just, yeah, a bit of a porcelain doll kind of look, and it's a little bit of a shame. He needs a bit more sun. And also, of course, this is always going to be an issue with long-haired characters. The hair means that you can't really make him look up all that much. So if he's flying through the air being pulled by Mjolnir, it's you can't really get that articulation. And honestly, I'm not a toy maker. I don't know a way around that. You could give him soft Barbie doll hair, but no, thank you. That's not a good look. What could actually, you know what? There you go. We just need a separate flying head with hair that's swooshed back that you can place on there. That's what you needed. Or you could have removable hair like G.I. Joe are doing, where you can actually have the different sort of hair pieces to put on there. There are ways around it. I tell you what, you can divert some of the money from your multiple hands maybe into a different head, because, oh boy, we get a lot of hands here, and that's not a bad thing. I'm never going to cross my arms and go, well, there are too many accessories. I don't want so many accessories. No, it's fine, but there are other ways that you could have used your plastic, is what I'm saying. But the face that we've got, this face sculpt, it's fine. I just don't feel like there's so much life and soul in there. Although with the wings on the helmet, there's a nice bit of shadowing and shading going on there that make them just look a bit more real. And I've got a lot of time for that. Then, of course, the hammer itself. Stop. It's hammer time. There are lots of different ones to choose from. So you've got him just holding the hammer down there. And what it is he's got a whole bunch of handles and then just the one hammer piece that you can just pop onto the end. Makes sense. Why waste plastic making multiple different hammers when you can just swap the head over? That's absolutely fine. One thing that I had as a bit of a gripe is that none of the hammers have the inscription, whoever so holds this hammer, if he be worthy, or if they be worthy, I don't know, shall possess the power of Thor. None of them have it. And again, I appreciate the older, classic comic book Thor, and maybe even the modern one as well. That inscription is mystical. It's magical. It appears on there when it's put on there, or when it needs to be, and then it disappears and it's just a hammer. But it would have been nice to have had it appear in one of them, because it's such a classic Thor kind of thing. So what we do have hammer-wise, this was the other reason I wanted to replace the Marvel Legend, was of course spinning Mjolnir. This always looks great. Does Ragnarok? I think the Marvel Legends Claw Ragnarok figure comes with a spinning hammer. I'm pretty sure he does. Also, the Select Beta Ray Bill. This is just great. It's so cool, and this is what I wanted. This is how he would be fighting Galactus in my display with the hammer swinging. Unfortunately, it's not perfect, because the problem with Mafex, they have a lot of articulation. There's a lot of articulation going on with the figure, which is great. You've got these kind of butterfly joints that are also ball joints as well. So you've got a nice range of motion. The problem is they're not the strongest joints in the world. So if you have him, yeah, you see, it's not strong enough to hold that. Of course, it's holding it now. You hold it now when I'm filming a video trying to say that you can't hold it. But generally, if you leave him in this pose for long, his arm will fall down. I can't believe you're holding your pose now, you dick. God of posing, clearly. Generally, there you go. If I shake him violently, the hand pops off. I mean, come on, Mafex. That's kind of funny. Let me get that. I love that. I'm trying to break the figure on camera just so I can go, see, it broke. But you know what I mean. If you do have him in a flight stand, eventually the shoulder is going to give up, because this is quite heavy. But they actually did account for that. I can't find it. Here we go. Oh no, wait, is that here? Oh yes, it is. You can see I'm filming this in real time, but I'm kind of excited and I want to keep the energy and I don't want to do any edits because I'll remember that I should do an edit and then I come to edit the video and I'll forget and yeah, you just get a whole bunch of dead air while I fiddle around. It actually comes with this stand. This stand to rest the hammer in so that his arm can be at least not right down by his side, but elevated a bit. So even Mafex appreciate he's not going to be able to hold the hammer twirling pose. It's just too heavy for him. But hey, at least they've got the ones that you can just hold in his hand and that works out fine. Also, there's a smaller little baby hammer that you can clip onto his belt, which, I don't know, in the comics when it's clipped onto his belt, does it shrink in size as well? I don't know, or maybe it's just for practicality's sake. Still, it's nice to have this other version. And then of course I'll show you the other head too. We got the stoic God of Thunder head. But again, he just looks so pale. I mean, I guess he is kind of a Nordic kind of character, so maybe they are more sort of blonde and, you know, sort of more fair-skinned. But he just looks a little bit too porcelain, like I was saying. But all that notwithstanding, the amount of articulation on here is really nice. Another thing with Mafex, though, I will also say, is their flight stands pretty rubbish, honestly. Mafex, it's a more expensive brand, and you can say like, oh, well, it comes with a flight stand. Yeah, that's only good if it's fit for purpose. Especially with the spinning hammer in his hand. Nah, no way. Those flight stands feel like they're designed to carry precisely one minute feather. Anything more than that and they just collapse. And you can't really tighten them. They're as tight as they're going to get and they just don't really do the job. So you can use them, but you've really got to sort of position it just right so that it sits. It's a real frustration, and that kind of put me off with this figure. It upset me. I felt upset about it. But you know what? I shouldn't, because there are things to really, really enjoy and appreciate. You can put him in some fun poses, but it's just not quite what I wanted it to be. But then again, Mafex didn't consult me when they were making this. They didn't say, hey Dave, what do you want this figure to be? And honestly, that's their fault. And that's why I got to mark them down for it. Mafex, I'm right here. Not once did you ask me what I want. And quite frankly, that's on you. That's on you. So that's how I feel about this Thor figure. It's got some highs and lows, and if you just see him as a standalone, you know, figure for like, I just want a Thor figure. I don't want to incorporate him into any other displays. I just want him to be represented on my desk because I'm a fan of Thor. If that's who you are, this is a good figure for you. If you want to incorporate him with different lines and waves, nah, not fit for purpose. But let's give him a grade. So as a final grade for Mafex Thor, I'm going to give him a boom, just 5 out of 10, which for model behavior values is a completely average grade. He's not above average, he's not below average. For a Mafex, he is what he is. The joints are all smooth, the quality is nice, it's there. It's just not really what I wanted for my Thor, but that's not what he's designed to be. If you just want a classic Thor, then that's exactly what he is, and he fits that bill pretty well. Just there you go. So I'm not going to be including him in any figure of the year reviews or anything. He's fine, but ultimately a bit underwhelming, and my search for my ultimate Thor figure, well, it's still a work in progress. And folks, that does it for my Mafex Thor review. What did you think about the figure? Comment below, let me know. Are you gonna get him, or is he just like, nah dog, this ain't it for me? That's a lot of the feedback I was getting, because I think a lot of people, they do like to mix up the lines, and this guy, he's just a little bit too small. Maybe a younger version of Thor, that works, but for your mighty, worthy Thor, doesn't quite cut the mustard. But hey, that's just my opinion, and I'm just some guy on the internet. I want to know your opinion, so comment below and let me know. Also, going forward with the channel, I'm going to put the toy reviews, the action figure reviews, on the Patreon, because these take a lot of time to do, and honestly, like they don't get that much following. Not that many clicks generated from toy reviews. So I think that's a good way of kind of balancing these things out, is the main channel is for features and good news, and then the toy reviews are over on the Patreon and the members section, so that's kind of like a little bonus for helping out the channel, which I always appreciate. So if you want to go over and be a part and see all these reviews, like all the figures in the figure comparison section, they're all on their way to getting reviewed. It's a work in progress, but we're getting there. Slow and steady, baby. That's what wins the race. You can go over and join up at patreon.com and help support the channel. So gang, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cup of coffee. Cup of coffee. Cup of coffee.